What's going on YouTube? Joker back again once again. Now, contrary to what you might actually believe, I don't go into these things looking for something to bitch about. That just kinda sort of happens. Okay, so they say when you have to review something that's complete and utter shit, it helps to focus on the positive aspects first. So yeah, here we go. One of my favorite aspects of 343's approach to the Halo universe is just how important the timeline seems to them. The book Halo Legacy of Onyx, like every other Halo book, starts with a historical note, which reads, "While this novel begins in 2549, a few years before the end of the Covenant War, the bulk of Halo Legacy of Onyx takes place in 2558. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this book was the opening chapter. The book starts on Paris 4 in 2549 during the Human Covenant War, a war that ends December 2552, so this takes place about 3 to 4 years before the end of Halo 3. We start with the world of Paris 4 being glassed, and with this family, the family of our main protagonist Molly. They're trying to escape. Author Matt Forbeck does a really great job of creating this all-encompassing sense of dread as the family runs into obstacle after obstacle trying to escape. There's one moment when Molly's father is so gripped by fear and dread. It's when they're driving to one of the spaceports, and they find that the bridge has been taken out by the Covenant. And the guy says, "You know what? Fuck it. I would rather die trying to escape, trying to fight for my dear life, than just sit here and die at the hands of the Covenant." So he tries jumping the gap. The last second he does snap out of it, only to realize, you know what, maybe we're not gonna make it across that gap. But it's a really great and intense moment. There's a lot of build up to it, and yeah, it's probably the best part of the book in the first chapter. The chapter comes to an end with them thinking, well, you know what, perhaps there's another way. We can maybe try to get away from the Covenant glassing beams in one of the underground traffic tunnels. However, when they're making their way to the tunnel, the Covenant start glassing the area around it, and as they're entering the tunnel, there's not enough time between the transition from the blinding light of the glassing beam to the darkness of the tunnel, and Molly's father rear-ends a truck, killing both Molly's mother and father. But the accident arches the car in a way that when the lava-like flow comes from the glassing, and it seeps down into the tunnel, the crash actually ends up saving Molly's life. She's then later saved by Sergeant Avery Johnson.
Oh, I know what the ladies like.
If that already sounds like a lot of plot convenience coming together to move the plot along, well, get used to it. That's the entirety of this book. And unfortunately, that really is as good as the book gets, as after that, it settles down into all the meanderings and all the trappings of a young adult book. Yeah, this is Halo's first young adult novel. And when I say that this is a young adult novel, I mean it. I mean, all of the tropes are here. Young angsty teen that moves around a lot because of her parents' job. Adopted parents don't understand me. I want to live my own life and not be what my adopted parents want me to be. Absurdly overly skilled outcast whose adopted parents also happen to be the best in their field of research. As the title of the book suggests, this book takes place on Onyx. Now, because every video is somebody's first, the long and short of what Onyx is, for anybody who hasn't read any of the Halo books, is an ancient alien race called the Forerunners, creator of the Halos, also created these things called Dyson spheres. Think Requiem from Halo 4, only a few billion times bigger.
I'm sorry, did I miss orbiting a Forerunner planet at some point?
One thing at a time.
So, Dyson spheres are these theoretical megastructures the size of entire solar systems that encompass a star, like our sun, and feed off its energy. For reference, the inside of Onyx, the biggest Dyson sphere that humanity has found, it's said that it can fit 500 million Earths. In fact, there's actually 3 planets inside of the Dyson sphere that orbit the sun. Now, I'm actually doing a great job at underselling just how bad this book is, because all of that sounds really fucking cool. and it was, in 2006's Ghost of Onyx. As cool as some of the science stuff in this book sounds, it's a relatively piece of shit book. So Molly, our protagonist, is a bit of a xenophobe. I wonder why. Oh yeah! I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the glassing of her home world or anything like that. And yet, we and Molly are constantly, and I mean constantly, being preached to about how this is just not okay. How dare you be prejudiced against the genocidal alien race that came not this close? You can't see my fingers, but they're really close together. To wiping out all of humanity. No. You must be tolerant and understanding because prejudice against anyone and anything is just not okay because hashtag not all aliens are genocidal xenophobes who want to wipe out all of humanity in the name of an ancient alien civilization who they thought were their gods and they wanted to go on a great journey for. I'm sorry, what? Now, context is very important. So, this isn't like humans, who have different cultures, different races, and sometimes these differences come to clash. And even within human history, when it comes to clash, and it is the most horrific genocide of millions, we still, as a species, more often than not, come together to overthrow these genocidal madmen, because that's what we as a species should do, come together for the benefit of the species as a whole. In the context of Halo, however, humans and the Covenant were engaged in a 30-year war, which, need I remind anyone, by the way, humanity was losing. Even when humanity won a battle, it was at such a great cost that it was tantamount to a loss anyways. But due to the nature of the Human Covenant War, you gotta do what you gotta do. For example, the book Halo: The Ghost of Onyx. The prologue opens with the beta company of Spartan 3's victory on Pegasi Delta.
Didn't think anyone survived Pegasi, sir.
Spartans never died, George.
What kind of victory was it? Well, out of the 300 Spartan 3s of Beta Company sent to destroy the refinery on the Covenant-controlled planet of Pegasi Delta, only 291 hit the ground, and then proceeded towards their target. The Spartans managed to destroy the facility, but due to unexpected heavy Covenant resistance, out of the 300 sent in, and the 291 that actually made it to the ground, only 2 Spartan 3s survived. Tom B292 and Lucy B091. Just to throw some other numbers out there, just to explain the gravity of the situation, just to convey how completely and utterly fucked humanity was during the Human Covenant War. Of the estimated 39 billion humans in 2525, 23 billion, 60% of the population, died during the Human Covenant War, and only 3 billion of these casualties were believed to be UNSC personnel. Of the estimated 800 human planets in 2525, around 28 to 30 colonies ranging from hamlets to population centers survived. The only reason that humanity actually survived the Human Covenant War was due to the Great Schism, the Covenant Civil War, and the subsequent collapse of the Covenant Empire, which accounted for the majority of the Covenant losses during the war, even though it only occurred at the end of the war. Mind you, this isn't accounting for the Banished, who may have had a big part, may not have had a big part, may have only been pirates and raiders, may have been dealing crippling blows to the Covenant. The lore's up in the air on this one, really. That said, they didn't really exist before Halo Wars 2, so yeah, you know, that's a little retcon, and I'm calling bullshit on it. I mean, we are told
Atriox and his Banished raided Covenant resources, cutting a swath across the galaxy, growing in strength with each attack. gathering killers and mercenaries to his side. The Covenant had two targets in those years: humanity and Atriox. They almost got us. But Atriox, they never came close. The whole damn Covenant couldn't contain him at the height of their power.
And yet, one UNSC ship with depleted and outdated equipment from Halo Wars 1, and 3 Spartan super soldiers in super outdated armor fight the Banished to a standstill on the Ark, but the Covenant couldn't do shit and or fuck against them. I'm not buying it, I'm just saying. You're selling it, I see you're selling it, it looks nice, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying what you're selling. Just saying. Tangent aside, if it's not painfully obvious, had it not been for the Arbiter's change of heart, humanity would have been completely and utterly annihilated. Sure, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and while most Sangheili would have had respect for humanity, if for no other reason than the Spartans, who they begrudgingly fought alongside during their truce, hardly any would have respected humanity as a whole as equals. That's just kind of how Sangheili are, they're dicks like that. Their culture is quite literally one of, and I'm not joking, I am better than everybody else until you kill me, and then you keep what you kill. Hell, one of the main reasons for the huge civil war between the Sangheili, as seen in Halo 5, is because of the truce with the UNSC. That the Arbiter dares to blaspheme that the Forerunners are not gods, that they're just aliens that were super advanced. You know, because they were. Oh, Sangheili, you are so backwards. So with that little history out of the way, why the actual fuck is everybody not only buddy with the former races of the Covenant, but berating anyone and everyone who understandably has a little bit of a discomfort when confronted with the races of the Covenant? You know, they only wiped out 60% of the human population. Jesus fucking Christ. And as we know from Halo 4 and Halo 5, the Covenant, under leaders like Jul Dama, is still very active.
I thought we had a truce with the Covenant.
A lot can happen in 4 years. Either way, he's probably not alone.
In fact, that's kind of a plot point for this book. And whilst nobody bothers to waste time on the fact that the Covenant is still very much a thing, we're introduced to 2 elite characters. One called the Pale Blade, and the other... Booker? I don't know. Who, spoiler alert, are both Jul Dama's sons. What are the fucking odds? More on that stupidity later. And that is something you will see come up in this book a lot. Everything, and I mean everything, is connected to everything else. And this connection is used to hand-wave any real motivation 9 out of 10 times. Instead of creating actual interesting character interactions with actual interesting characters, with actual interesting motivations, we have characters with pre-established relationships that just kind of hand-wave any necessary explanation other than, oh, they're just related. Oh, they just know each other already before the story even starts. Oh, they're just each other's nieces, nephews, uncles, ex-roommates, boyfriends, sisters, cousins, dogs, handlers, washers, something. It's not smart, it's not clever, it's just fucking lazy. Then again, this is the same author from Halo New Blood, who killed the rookie like a bitch, and had Mickey from Halo ODST turn into a fucking traitor. So, you know, there is that. But anyways, let me get back to my main point, or something that resembles a main point. Perhaps this "how dare you hate elites and grunts and jackals and yada 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 yada" message wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't juxtaposed against the aforementioned genocidal war. And B, if the reader didn't have to sit through an entire chapter of, and I'm not joking, Franklin fucking Mendez sitting down with a 16-year-old and having a warm heart-to-heart talk about how she needs to give the elites and grunts, on Onyx by the way, a shot. Now, He could just be saying this because he needs to get something that he wants. I mean, after all, he's definitely not above lying. But again, that's not how this reads. Again, the whole thing is extremely heavy-handed, and it feels more like a vehicle to drive home a message than any form of manipulation that Mendez might engage in. It all seems just so grossly out of character, and it really gave me whiplash reading it. But, you know, that's not the worst part. No. Oh no. For you see, this conversation about home and family and community and understanding and coming together is then backed up by, and I wish I was joking, 2 fucking Spartan 3s. This fucking book.